What's up guys, welcome back to Dynamic Programming for Beginners. This is lecture number 13 and today we're going to review another variation of the coin change problem. So, in the previous lecture the problem statement was given an unlimited supply of coins of given denominations, find the total number of ways to make a change of size n. And as you can see, I added a minor requirement here that we have to use exactly 9 coins. So we have two things here. First, we have to find the total number of ways to make a change of size n, and we have to use exactly 9 coins. How did we solve the previous problem, the lighter version of this problem? So we first found f of 0, right? Then, knowing the solution to f of 0, we were able to find f of 1. Knowing the solution to f of 1, we were able to find f of 2. And at some point in time, we were able to find f of n. And f of n was the answer to the overall problem. And we only had one variable kind of like in this state, which was f of I, right? And I was the amount. Now we have two variables here. We have n and we have 9. So when you're defining the objective function, you have to be mindful about the number of variables in your problem, because your goal is to model the state of your problem. So let's do that, because this is also the first step in the framework, right? We have to define the objective function. So we can say f of I is the total number of ways to make a change of size I by using exactly 9 coins. As a more general way, we can say by using exactly t coins. And this would be our objective function. F of it is the total number of ways to make a change of size I by using exactly t coins. Okay, great. As you can see, this is a two-dimensional problem now, right? Now, the second step is to identify base cases. So let's play with this problem. Let's try to solve f of I by using exactly 0 coins. How many ways to return a change of size I by using exactly 0 coins? There are 0 ways, right? Because you can't make a change of that size because you don't have any coins at all. How many ways to make a change of size 0 by using exactly 0 coins? If you think about it, there is one way. You're kind of like returning an empty coin. Okay, how many ways to make a change of size I by using exactly 1 coin? Let's review this case. So, because there are many ways to return I by using only 1 coin. Well, there are different use cases, so to speaking. So when I equals to 1, right, it's this coin, there is only one way to make a change, right? Just one. It's returning 1 cent. When I equals to 3, there is also one way. We return 3 cents. When I equals to 5, there is also one way to make a change, because we have 5 cents. When I equals to 10, there is also one way to make a change. We just return 10 cents. In all other cases, like else, we can say for all other use cases, the answer is 0. Okay, so we have our base cases. Basically, all of that is our base case. Now, the third step is to write down the transition function. So we have two variables here, right? And the thinking process is very similar to the previous just regular coin change problem. But check it out. So we have f of I and t, it, right? And there are multiple ways how we can start making a change. So we can start from 1 cent, 3 cents, 5 cents, or 10 cents, right? So we have to review all of these use cases. So let's review the 1 cent use case first. We're making a change starting by giving 1 cent away. So if we return 1 cent, it means that we'll have to return I minus 1 cents, right? So I minus 1. This is the amount that we still have to return. And then if we return 1 cent, then it means that we have 1 cent less. We have 1 coin less. So it means that t minus 1. And this is when we start from 1. We also have to review other use cases, like to consider other use cases for 3, 5, and 10. So plus f of I minus 3. So if we return 3 cents, we still have to return I minus 3 cents. Now, we're 1 coin less, so t minus 1. And this is the use case when we start from 3 cents. And basically we have the exact same sort of like formula for other coins. So plus f of I minus 5, t minus 1, plus f of I minus 10, comma, t minus 1. And this is the transition function to this problem, right? As you can see, this formula is for all the i's greater or equal to 10. If I is less than 10, so for instance, I equals to 9, then it means that this part becomes 0, so we don't consider it, right? All this sort of like corner cases is something you would handle in your code with some sort of like conditions. Now, I would like to review another variation of this same problem to show you how it would change if we were to have, something else. So let's consider a version of a coin change problem in which we have to find the total number of ways to make a change of size n by using no more than 9 coins. So in this case, we used exactly 9 coins, but now I want to use no more than 9 coins. So what's going to be different? Let's see. So if we have f of I 0, how many ways to make a change of size I by using no more than 0 coins? 0. We can't do that, right? What about f of I and then by using no more than 1 coin? Again, let's review multiple cases. So when I equals to 1, I equals to 3, I equals to 5, I equals to 10, then let's also review I equals to 0, and then otherwise, all the other use cases. So when I equals to 1, we can't use, we have to use no more than 1 coin. How many ways to do that? It's just one way. All the answers are the same as in the previous problem. So we can use 3 cents here, one way with 10 cents, right? One way with 5 cents. Actually, I missed this. So this is 5. One way with 10 cents. Now, what about when I equals to 0? So let's review it. F of 0, and then we have some value of, let's say 1, right? So as in here. So how many ways to make a change of size 0 by using no more than one coin? So there is one way to do that, right? Because we don't have to use that coin because the requirement is no more than one coin. In the previous problem, we had to use exactly one coin. So if we were to answer this question by using the exactly notation, then this result would be 0. So in this case, this is 1, and all the other use cases are 0 because we don't have those coins, so which is why it's 0. And as you can see, this is the only difference between exactly 9 coins and no more than 1 coins. The transition function stays exactly the same, and the rest of the problem is the same. Cool, now let's code it up, and in the next lecture we'll review another variation of this problem which will help you to better understand this specific problem and also improve your understanding. Hey, sorry guys, my battery died as I was finishing the whiteboarding session. Anyways, here is the problem. Given an unlimited supply of coins of given denominations, find the total number of ways to make a change of size n by using exactly t coins. So let's recall the transition function. F of I t equals f of I minus 1 t minus 1 plus f of I minus 3 t minus 1 plus f of I minus 5 t minus 1 plus f of I minus 10 t minus 1. And I think the test that I've written to this function, I used slightly different denominations, 1, 2, 3, and 5. So it's basically 1, 2, 3, and 5, right? Okay, so we have some amount of money, which is n, it's integer. We also have t, which is the exact number of coins that we have to use. It's also an integer. And then we also have coins, which is an array of denominations. And we return the number of ways to make a change, which is integer. Now I'm going to define an array, a two-dimensional array, which will store the results to our subproblems, right? Solutions to our subproblems. And this is how you define a two-dimensional array in Go. It's going to be of size n plus 1. And now I need to initialize each row, which is for each row range over this dp, and then dp of I equals create a new array of integers of size t plus 1. And then we return the answer to the overall problem is going to be in dp of n t, right? Since array starts with 0, we use n plus 1 and t plus 1 here. Okay, cool. Now we identify base cases. We specify base cases. So we say dp of 0, 0, we already know it. It equals to 1, right? And now we can start a loop starting from I equals to 0 all the way up to n, I plus plus, and then for j starting from 0 all the way up to t, j plus plus. And let's apply our transition function, right? So dp of ij equals dp of I minus 1, j minus 1 plus dp of I minus 2. We are just rewriting this whole thing, right? We're just rewriting the transition function. So dp of I minus 2, t j minus 1 plus dp of I minus 3, j minus 1 plus dp of I minus 5, j minus 1. And then we also have one more base case here that for all the, so when dp of I 0 equals to 0, right? So for any I and when j equals to 0, when we don't have any coins, like we can't use any coins, the answer is 0. So here we can say if I is greater than 0 and j equals to 0, then dp of ij equals to 0. And we can just continue, kind of like we don't care about the rest of the code. Now, we have to take care of corner cases, right? Because if I equals to 3, then this value would end up being dp of -3 j minus 1, which is something we want to avoid. How do we do that? Well, we can just use if statement. So if I is greater or equals to 1, dp of ij, dp of I minus 1, j minus 1. I don't have to worry about j here because we already, like when j equals to 0 for any I, the answer is 0, right? So when we are here, then j is definitely greater than 0. So this part will never fail. And we can basically copy and paste this whole thing and just like change the value of I. So it's like, in this case, it's 1, then 2 for like different denominations, right? Sorry, it's -1, minus 1, I minus 2, I minus 3, and then 5, I minus 5. And that's pretty much it. The only one thing is that we are not using the coins array, the denominations array. Let's do it now. So instead of writing all of this, we can just comment it out and we can say for each coin, we're just rewriting this code to a more general way. For each coin in the range over coins, if I minus coin greater or equals to 0, then dp of ij equals dp of I minus coin j minus 1. And that's pretty much it. Let's run the test. I have multiple tests here, like base case and simple test. And let's see if it's working. Okay, so tests are good. And now let's review another variation of the problem. It's going to be a minor change here. So when we have to use no more than t coins. So I'm going to copy this whole thing in this file. We no longer need this piece. And the only difference here is that we have to add one more base case, right? So this is coin change no more than t coins. And we want to say that when dp of 0 for any j equals to 1, right? Because if we have to make a change of size 0 by using no more than any amount of j coins, it means there is one way. Because like if we say what's the total number of ways to make a change of size 0 by using no more than 5 coins, it doesn't mean that we have to use 5 coins. We can also use like 0 coins and that equals to 1. So even 5 would equal to 1 as well. So let's add this base case. We can say if I equals to 0 and j is greater than 0, then dp of ij equals to 1, and then continue. I don't have test cases for this problem, for this version of the problem, but it's working, I'm pretty sure. That's pretty much it for today, guys. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope this 2 problems were helpful, and I hope it helped you to sort of like better understand the coin change problem as a whole. We will also review 2 more variations of this problem, I believe. But regardlessly, I think you should play with this problem by yourself. It's a super simple problem and you have to understand it as much as possible. Thank you so much and take care, guys.